You care about babies being murdered, sir?
You said basically, if you care so much, why aren't you working with some single mother that doesn't have the support she needs to raise a child?
Yeah,
Okay,
it's helpful to
because I can
ask.
see you standing here not doing it.
Are you doing it right now?
I do that all the time.
Well, how do you know we don't do
In
it?
my off time, I don't go around judging other people in hard positions.
Are you judging us?
I'm engaging
Okay.
in a way that asked a question.
Well, you haven't asked questions so far. You've assumed so.
I walked up here and I said, so why aren't you out there working with the people in these hard positions?
Well, you didn't actually ask us. You presumed that we weren't.
Because you're not doing it right now.
Well, neither are you.
I didn't out here judging anybody who wasn't, though.
You're judging us by presuming. Like, but ask us. Ask us and we'll tell you.
Visual stimuli works like this, bro.
Yeah.
I can tell both of y'all aren't helping any single mothers.
How do you know
right
that?
Now, because you're
And neither are you.
right here
Neither are you right now.
with a bullhorn journey.
Do we have to, in order to stand up for the rights of victims who are being murdered, do we have to 24 hours a day be
Right. So if you want to stand up for people instead of judging them,
as you're doing.
where is your work in domestic violence? How much
Are
do
you?
you work
Let me ask you, sir. What are you doing about domestic violence at this very moment?
I am confronting domestic violence at this very moment.
Really?
How so? by criticizing us, ridiculing us?
A propagation is underway, right? To take women's right to choose. Women that are in difficult positions.
Wait, hold on.
A lot of
What are they
times that
choosing?
involves domestic violence. So I'm politically engaging in domestic violence right now.
What right to choose? You support a woman's right to choose what?
To abort a man's child who's not going to take care of that child.
So you agree with?
So we should punish the child because the man is a jerk? We should
I'll say
kill
this.
the child because the man is a jerk?
I'll say this right now.
Mm-hmm.
Until the church picks up more of the obligation of these children and starts doing its job with these
We'll
children,
agree with you on that.
well, where is it at?
Well, right here.
This
So
is
we
what
don't-
you chose. So you didn't go stand at a church and tell them to stick up for
Actually, I
women.
do all the time, sir.
Where's the sign?
The church sign?
I mean, this
Yeah, 'cause
one.
I go to church
This
all
one
the
right here?
time. I don't see it.
This one right here.
Dear American Church,
This is your Holocaust.
this is your
right here.
Holocaust.
Look at
Okay.
this one. This is
How
for
about
churches
how
right
about
here.
spend 90%
This one's
out
for
going
churches.
towards
This is for
mothers?
churches.
How do you know we don't?
Until you put more engagement into your own.
How about you ask us what we do?
Sir, you're accusing us.
I'm the
of
man. I'm the man he should be. I will accuse you.
Okay.
Well, don't be a false accuser of the brethren. That's the devil is the false accuser of the brethren.
Bro,
It's okay for us.
You said you're a
to
churchgoer,
judge
right?
That it's wrong to murder people. It's okay for us to make that judgment.
is it okay to walk by the Starbucks?
Is it okay?
To what?
Is it okay to walk by the Starbucks?
Every
When you
single
drove up
time.
here
So you
and you walked
assume-
past these poor people and you spent your time here,
Well, let me
where's
just,
your hands?
a
Where's the
poor
blood on
woman
your
just
hands?
walked by me a minute ago. I've worked 23 years in human services, okay?
Okay.
She just walked by me a minute ago. I talked to her for a minute, and I said, are all your needs being met? And she told me, I asked her about a specific service that I work in. She told me she had it already. If she had said, oh no, can you help me? I have the knowledge to help her with that right away. But let me tell you this, would you tell a fireman if he climbed up into a building to save a child, would you be like, hey, you going to pay for that kid's college education? Are you going to go and are you going to buy food for that child?
If not, get off the ladder.
Children that
Right.
are in imminent danger of being murdered, of being killed.
And you just said you're a churchgoer who supports a mother's so-called right to murder a baby. Think about that. Just think about that.
And just
Oh,
so
brother,
you know, I worked.
I didn't confuse myself with you at all.
Okay, where was I wrong? In what I just said.
Your false equivocation that because
You called the human being a child in the womb. Their right to abort
I
a
was
child.
beaten as a child in the womb.
I'm sorry about that.
Yeah, and my mom had to stay with my dad
Can I
for
tell you, I was the
14
product of
years.
rape.
Okay,
Should I be dead?
ma'am,
Should I be
when
dead?
I speak to my experience, please don't equate mine with yours, first of all. Okay?
And I am sorry.
And second of
for
all, I
your
believe that is all our stuff to process. Individually. Okay?
But all
And
human
the
life
right,
is valuable.
the right of humans to go around using weighty words judging each other is preserved for people that can stand
Is it preserved for you? You've judged us.
Process.
You've judged us many times.
I've got it in my chest.
And so
Yeah.
do
I
we.
don't need a bullhorn.
I've got it in my chest that some things are so wrong we need to expose them. Like the Bible says, take no part in evil works of
I think
darkness, but
that-
instead expose them. And that's what we're out here doing. And we're also sharing, if you would have listened to some of his preaching, we're sharing about the love of Jesus and how you can be saved even if you have murdered a child, you know?
I had a child murdered in my family over 20 years ago. That's a big reason why I'm doing this. Because I can't bring
How
it.
long did you carry that child?
I didn't. It was my nephew.
Didn't carry
What does that matter? It was my nephew who was
Tell me
murdered.
what you learned about difficult choices during that period of time.
I've learned that God says you shall not murder, and who are we to play God with human life?
So nothing of that hardship, you've never learned anything of that hardship? Have you ever
Didn't justify the murder of my
listened to
nephew.
those difficult choices?
It should always be a difficult choice, the most difficult choice to murder someone. Therefore, we shouldn't do it because God said you shall not murder.
Okay.
And I'm hoping.
The Bible
I'm
also
hoping.
says that the children of God shouldn't judge their neighbors, but should
No,
feed
actually-
their neighbors.
Well, then why are you
Where's
judging?
your
Then why are
word
you
of God?
judging us?
I, brother,
Mm-hmm.
felt called to justice in that moment because I saw enough looks on enough people's faces.
We feel called to justice in every moment. That these are our neighbors, made in the image of God, and we don't have a right to murder them no matter what.
This is the greatest injustice in America right now, and right now you're in support of it. But take God at His word. God says you shall not murder. God says this right here: child sacrifice did not enter His mind in Jeremiah chapter
God
19.
also says not to be partial toward people. In other words, don't discriminate against some people because they're at a different stage of development, a different color of skin.
Like the days of slavery.
Different economic class,
Right,
or
Yeah.
we don't
political
discriminate.
position,
We don't
Doesn't matter.
discriminate. So we don't
different
say,
choices they've
Well,
made in the past,
so-
no?
Wait.
Doesn't the Lord say not to discriminate against people's decisions of the past?
No, he says he offers forgiveness if you repent.
And who is to give forgiveness?
And we're out here
Who
offering
gives
that.
forgiveness?
We're out here telling people about that forgiveness, but
Yeah.
we're also saying
That's available for you.
I walked by.
Okay.
I heard the sermon. I heard
You
a
didn't
little
hear
bit
him?
about
You
forgiveness.
didn't.
I heard a little
How
bit
much?
about
How much?
forgiveness.
How long? How long did you listen?
And I heard a whole lot
How long did you
about
listen?
Enough to engage.
that. We still
No.
appreciate you engaging.
Yeah.
What is your belief system?
I am a servant of God in capacity. Who is God? Bro, the fact that we ask for a theological definition states where you're at in the conversation. If you think God's in words,
Well, he's asking because a lot of people have many false gods.
I know what he's asking, and I presume that any God but his God is a false God.
Well, there's one true God, Jesus Christ.
And the idea that any other God is a false God, right,
Yeah.
Bible
came
says that.
before the
No,
Christ,
it's actually
right?
John chapter 14,
That's what
verse
the
6.
Nazis believe,
Well, what is your belief? That's what
right?
I'm asking. Who is? He says, who is God?
And I love you, brother, but feel no regard to that question. I can tell you couldn't understand my answer.
So you're not willing to answer?
There's no point in trying to describe God.
Can you give us a Bible?
You don't pray enough and don't have an open heart right now.
You know how much I pray?
I can tell by your chest and your heart right here that you're antagonized.
You can tell by my chest how much I pray.
An open heart lasts through the day.
So that,
Sir, can you give us any Bible at all for what you believe?
Right.
Yeah. So how do you know that's true?
Because my chest cavity is open.
So your chest
And I'm
cavity is
speaking
the ultimate
broadly.
source of truth.
I'm not sure what that means, sir.
I guess what I'm saying is those who write of God and tell of God through words have not experienced God.
why are
And so
you
why
using
should I
words?
use words
Why are
to
you
tell it
using
in?
words and
What
telling
I'm asking.
I'm telling you I wouldn't use words and defile to try to baseline it down for this
How do you know that's
question.
true? Sir, how do you know that's true?
Do you read the Bible, sir?
I've read the Bible
Okay.
multiple times and I use the Bible to help me.
So far, we have yet to hear you say anything in the Bible. I haven't heard you use the Bible at all yet.
I just want to know how you know what's true.
Because apart from the Bible,
Because I've been still, and I've known God, and I've been subject to man, and I can tell the difference.
How?
They're visible. When you are still with God, after 12 to 18 days of fast, this won't be a question.
Right, but how do you know? Because there's lots of people that think they know God.
Right?
So what I'm asking is, how do you know what's true? So far, all I've got from you is just that.
So let me ask you a question.
So you don't want to answer mine.
I spent a long time answering yours, but I can't use your. God isn't dialectical.
What does that mean?
Right. I mean, why would I see? So I put a lot of work into this, and that makes it a one-sided conversation.
How so?
What's the gospel?
Like the Romans Road or something?
Or just the gospel.
The gospel of Jesus Christ. I mean, can we do the gospel with our chest cavity, or do we have to use words?
If you don't do the gospel with your chest cavity, as the Bible says, if you don't put on the breastplate of righteousness, your chest will be filled in.
And wouldn't righteousness be not murdering people?
I believe that righteousness would be not murdering people.
Then stand with us.
But is that true?
I'm sorry.
Is it true that it's unrighteous to murder people? Is that true?
Yes.
How do you know?
It's written on your heart.
I believe that even those who would choose to do so, know innately about the hardship of that choice. And I've talked with some people who have no regard to the choice, but it still seems that it pains them in their heart.
What I'm asking is, so I agree with you that there's an innate knowledge. What I'm asking you is, how do you know that to be true?
Y'all know where you stand before God this day.
Until you put that work in.
Consider your ways before holy God, folks.
Tell you, obviously. I tried a little bit, but it's not as if I read it somewhere. You have to cultivate that.
So you just feel it.